quorum?
One, two, three, four, five. We need one more person.
One more.
And Neil, if it's okay, I have a few remarks to make before we technically start the meeting.
Sure.
Okay. So we'll wait for at least one more person.
Hi, Jem.
Hello, how are you?
So how many of you are working from home? I would think many of you can't work from home. You are, Kathy.
100% of drinking water staff are working from home.
Okay.
Really?
Well, a few exceptions, but yeah.
Still.
Yes,
I am.
until after the first of the year.
I haven't worked from home since it started. I've been coming in every day.
Same here.
Same here. Yep, nothing.
Our building is reopened, so we are welcoming students again on a limited basis, but we never technically shut the building down, only to the public, but staff have been there the whole time.
So you have like a safety precaution protocol that you have to follow for everybody. And
Yeah, we have staff guidance. We've trained all our staff in COVID sanitation protocols. We've upgraded the filtration on our HVAC. We have COVID cleaning twice a week that we do. Signs and everything all over the place in my building. It's, restricting rooms. We've actually, our classrooms are cut down to how many capacity we can have, but we're slowly starting to introduce in-person options.
yeah,
And if students won't wear a mask, then they're not allowed in the building. That's pretty much our biggest, we tell them, if you're one of those no anti-mask people, take our stuff online.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hi, Blake.
Hey, everyone.
Hello.
Okay, you have 6 people, Neil. I have
All
some
right.
comments to make before we start, if that's okay.
Yep, please do.
Okay, everybody can hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes, okay, thank you. I'm Kathy Romero, and this is a public meeting of the Safe Drinking Water Act Assessment Advisory Committee, also known as the Section 70 Committee. And I just have a few notes before we start the meeting. The first note is that we're being recorded since it is a public meeting, and the recording will be posted on MassDEP's webpage for the committee. Blake, I was just saying that the meeting is being recorded. I wanted to make sure everybody knows that. And it will be posted on DEP's website on the committee's webpage. Yvette DePisa, Program Director for Drinking Water, and Nicole Della Porta, who's one of our drinking water program staff that helps us keep things running, are also on the call. And after the meeting starts, after I turn it back over to Neil, I plan to do a roll call for attendance, since, as always, you have to have 6 appointed members in attendance for a quorum for the public meeting. And the agenda today is as follows: the welcome and the roll call, the rate discussion, and a recommendation for FY22, a brief drinking water program update from Yvette, any public comments, and then adjournment. So please stay muted. If you want to speak, please unmute yourself and ask the chair, Neil Merritt, to recognize you to speak. Any questions on any of that? All right, Nicole, we're recording, right? All right, thank you. And I'll turn it back over to Neil Merritt to do a welcome. You're muted, Neil.
Hey, I'm a rookie here, sorry. Good morning, everyone. My name's Neil Merritt. I'm the Water Superintendent for the town of Hanover. I am chairing this board, this committee. Again, I want to welcome everybody to our, I believe, first Zoom meeting. And I guess we'll go around the table and introduce each other.
Okay, Neil, I'm going to do a roll call, okay?
Oh, okay, fine.
Just do it that way if it's okay. All right,
Sure.
Neil Merritt, representing Rural Water Systems. You could just say present.
Present.
Thank you. Elizabeth Ainsley Campbell, representing an environmental agency, in this case, the Nashua River Watershed Association.
Present.
Thank you. Tom Holder, representing New England Waterworks Association.
Present.
Sean Osborne, representing industry. Okay, Sean had indicated he would come, so hopefully he'll join us. Rebecca McDermott, representing Western Mass Waterworks. David Condry, representing investor-owned water companies.
Present.
Blake Lucas, representing Mass Waterworks.
Present.
Thank you. Marcus Kemp, representing DEP. Marcus is DEP's rep. Okay. Ariella Lovett, representing Mass Municipal Association. And Jim Starbard, representing small water systems, rural and small.
Present.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, you have your 6 members. Non-voting alternates, Jen Peterson. Jen had told me she, oh, by the way, Dave Maciarelli couldn't make the meeting. Jen Peterson told me she had a conflicting meeting. Hopefully she might be able to join us. Kirsten King from New England Waterworks.
Present.
Thanks. Anyone from the public present? Okay. Okay, so Yvette DePisa, DEP staff, present? Yes.
Present.
Nicole Della Porta is present.
Present.
And Kathy Romero is present. What I was saying was Lexi Dewey sometimes joins us as a member of the public at your physical meetings, and so I sent her the agenda.
Thank you, Kathy.
Let's see. Neil, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. I believe we're going to go to rate discussion and recommendations. I'm not sure who's,
Yeah. Yep, I can start with that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so this is the meeting where you discuss the rate and hopefully make a recommendation for FY22 rate structure. Those bills will go out next December in 2021. And just for an update for this year's billing, for FY21, it's proceeding as usual. Billing starts in December. We're able to do it with the revenue unit remotely. So they go into the office actually socially distancing and stuff to get it done. That's based on water usage for calendar year 2018 that PWS's report to us. So billing for this December is all set. So for next December FY22, that's what you're here to discuss. And this is the point where I usually give you a copy of that big spreadsheet and some numbers to report for the last calendar year for 2019 that water systems report on their annual statistical report. This year we have a problem due to COVID delays that the data from the annual statistical report has not moved into our water quality database yet, called WQTS. So I'm going to have to distribute that data to you at a later time. So we'll have to have the conversation about the rate structure for FY22 without that data. But I will remind you that last year you recommended and the commissioner approved a rate increase, which goes into effect with this December's billing. The rate for water systems with meters was raised to $9.50 per million gallons of water used by PWSs. That's an increase from $8.50. The minimum bill for metered PWS is $50. That's an increase from $20. And the flat rates for the unmetered systems remain the same. So I will turn it back over to Neil for any rate discussion and recommendation. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. I am not prepared to raise rates again. I don't know if anybody wants to discuss a rate increase, but we just had our first rate increase in many years, and I'm just not ready to even consider raising again. So if anybody wants to discuss it, feel free, but that's where I stand.
I agree with Neil to hold them.
So I would actually like to bring up a discussion point about potentially reducing the rate retroactively for FY21. And I guess my justification for this is that we are in the water industry seeing a significant loss or reduction in water usage, which is going to lead to a significant amount of revenue loss for utilities. So managing that loss is going to be a difficult situation. And we are also seeing in the industry that we are having more residents and businesses not paying their bills, which is going to compound the revenue loss. So if possible, I'd like to make a motion that we request the commissioner to retroactively reduce the FY21 back to what it was for FY20. And that would be both for the metered and for the flat rate.
Does anybody have any comments on that motion?
I'd like to hear about the process, since I don't know how retroactive would work given how rates get set and move through the legislature and so on. Could Kathy or Yvette speak to whether it's even possible?
Yeah, my only thought on whether it's possible is that because the bills haven't gone out, the bills don't go out until November. So it is possible, but yeah, that might need legal review. And I guess if that's something that would not be feasible or allowed by law, then I would follow up with that we reduce the rates for FY22 back to what they were before to provide some relief to the utilities for the following year.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Kathy, go ahead.
Just wanted to ask Blake to clarify, are you talking about the bills going out in December for FY21, or are you talking about the rate for next December, FY22?
So if possible, I would like to see it be changed back for FY21, the bills that are about to go out, because that's what's going to impact our water utilities the most. We're this year that we're going to be paying the first increase in this cost is going to be during the year where we're seeing a significant loss in revenue due to reduced water usage, and we're seeing a loss of payment. So, our specific case in Framingham, we're seeing our past due notices up $2 million since last year. And I know other utilities are struggling with the same.
I can just speak for our system. I don't doubt what's going on with Framingham, but we've really seen no major change actually, but I think we're all different, so.
As far as Milford's concerned, I'm the same. I'm in the same boat. I'm actually my payments are actually better than they were last year. Go figure that. Maybe people took the $600 here and actually paid their water bills. So um, I'm with you, Neil. I have not seen, or we have not seen the change yet. I will note though that the summer usage bills are starting to go out. So I don't know if that's going to be where I see a significant change or not. I can't tell, but those are about to go out. And there's some, the usual heavier bills, but so far, knock on wood, everything's been going okay. As everybody knows, I'm private, so I fall in the DPU, and DPU has made it perfectly clear that I cannot even send out past due notices requesting payment until next year. They've closed the door for the rest of the year. And then come November, they do the annual shutdown for us anyways because of the winter months. So they don't allow us to do any kind of collections, if you will, during those time periods anyways. So I haven't been able to do any of that since March. But again, fortunately for us, we have seen pretty much a steady income still coming in. So again, I'm not affected as of yet, anyways.
Yeah, Tom, you want to speak?
Yeah, I guess we probably don't have this information today. If we did, I would be curious, what the expected increase per, water provider would be, with the increase from 850 to 950. I'm thinking it's small in comparison to the budgets that we're operating under. And I know, I am sensitive to what Blake is talking about, the reduced revenue, but I'm thinking that we've debated for years about raising the rate. We finally did it last year. The commissioner approved it, and the significant impact that has to funding the drinking water program, the benefit of that, I'm not sure would be matched or balanced by the nominal increase and burden placed on water suppliers.
Well, I wish we had an idea where we all stood. I mean, we know where Dave and I stand, and we know where Blake stands, but we don't really have a feel for the rest of the state. So I don't know. I'm not, I can see the arguments on both sides. I just, I'm not sure how to react on this one. Anybody have any thoughts, additional thoughts?
I saw Blake had his hand up.
Yeah, so I just want to share that I'm not bringing this up on behalf of Framingham. We are noticing it in Framingham. I'm actually bringing this up on behalf of Mass Waterworks Association. Jen Peterson has been contacted by many water utilities that are in these situations, and is actually working with the Water Infrastructure Alliance on contacting the state legislature to see if they can fund, provide some funding for utilities that are seeing this issue. It is real. It may not be, we're a very limited number of water suppliers that are in this meeting today. So, we can only speak on our current and, what's going on in our communities. But as far as Mass Waterworks is concerned, this is a real issue.
Kathy, could we put the vote off a little bit and get some information? I just feel like we're making a decision on limited information.
Well, if we're talking about FY21 for the bills for December, those are kind of already in the works, so I'm not sure what other information would help. Overall, as far as the finances of this bill, the trend is for water use to go down, and I expect with the statewide drought and with a lot of businesses not open and schools, a lot of schools were closed for some time, that overall, at least in the near future, we're going to see water systems paying less for the assessment, even with the increase. And that's what when we've looked at in the past, what the bills look like for so many water systems, the bills have gone down over time because of less water use. So I'm not sure that most people are going to be paying more even though the rate went up.
So I'm sorry, on the current bills going out in December, is there anything we can do about those, or is it too late? I may have missed your comment on that.
Well, all I can say are the facts, which are the rate was set by the commissioner in consultation with the governor last November 1st, and a rate letter went out to all public water systems. So the revenue unit is gearing up to do the billing in December. And I don't know what kind of impact changing or recommending to change the rate structure for this year's billing would have on a timely billing process. Like I don't know how that would impact the bills going out.
So you're saying we cannot impact these current bills going out in December? Just want to make sure I'm clear on that.
I'm not saying you can't make that recommendation. I don't know the implications of doing that recommendation at this point, or of making a change to the rate structure for this year's bills at this point.
Okay.
It would have to be considered and officially changed at higher levels than DEP staff here.
So maybe are we saying that we would have to make a vote to it now and then consider later, or we go back and investigate and come back and talk about it? But if we do, the time frame is such that the opportunity is probably not there, because I'm kind of trying to figure out how would this really work. Even raising the question and having time for a response, and the process is already on track.
Now, I'm not even sure what more information we could give you, because it's based on data from water use data from 2018, which we've already looked at last year when you made a recommendation. The committee can make whatever recommendation they want for this year's billing. We usually talk about the next year's billings, in this case FY22 for next December, since the rate structure is already set for this billing year. But you can make whatever recommendation you want. So there's a motion to reduce the rate retroactively for FY21, which is this December's billing.
Elizabeth, yeah.
Among the process things, we don't know if the committee were to recommend a change pertaining to bills that are in the works to go out in a very short time. I don't think we even know the amount of staff time that would go into it on DEP, which is not the point of this recommendation. Obviously, it's to support the water suppliers. But anyone working in an organization knows how many resources go into a change like this at the last minute.
I think we're at a point where we have to decide whether or not do we make the motion, forward the motion to reduce the current rate as Blake has put on before us. So I think that's where we're at. I think because that is the motion before us right now. So we have to decide, I guess, whether or not to move forward with the motion or not.
I would agree, Dave. Why don't we have a vote?
Let's get a second on it first.
Oh, I'm sorry, correct. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion put forward by Blake, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. I'll be
No, no.
No.
Kathy, do you have a tally?
I have to do a roll call just like I would during a physical meeting if it's
Sure.
not unanimous. So if you could bear with me for a second. Neil,
No.
Elizabeth, Elizabeth? Nope. Okay. Tom Holder,
No.
David Condry,
No.
Blake Lucas.
Yes.
Okay. Ariella,
Yes.
Jim Starbart.
No.
Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 no's, 2 yeses, and Elizabeth, are you back on? Okay. Okay, so I'll turn that back over to you, Neil. Looks like it did not pass.
All right, thanks, Kathy. So we're back on rate discussion and recommendations. To start this section, I said I was not in favor of a rate increase moving forward.
This is David Condry. I'd like to make a motion that we just keep the rates for 2022 the same as 2021, not to raise.
I would second that.
Before you take the vote, who seconded that? Was it Jim?
Tom Holder.
Tom, okay, thanks. Okay, go ahead, Neil.
All right, so we need a vote on David's motion. You're going to do a roll call again, Kathy?
Sure. Neil Merritt,
Yes.
Elizabeth, Tom Holder,
Yes.
David Condry,
Yes.
Blake Lucas,
No.
Ariella Lovett,
Yes.
and Jim Starbard.
Yes.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 5 yeses, 1 no. So the motion passes to keep the rate for FY22 the same.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. I guess we move on to a brief drinking water program update. I believe that would be Yvette.
Okay, thank you. I just first want to say it's good to see everyone, and I am hoping that the time that you had under this COVID time, that we used it for reflection and growth. And I don't mean gaining 15 pounds, sometimes I kind of go back and forth. So what have we been doing in drinking water? We have been working remotely since March, and we're going to continue to do that till January of next year when the governor will reassess how we're doing. There are some staff that do go into the office, but it's under very strict control with permissions. You have to apply like maybe a week in advance, and then you get approved to go in for a block of time. This whole period, it's about challenges and opportunities. And the challenges that we've been facing have been mainly around the manipulation of data and communications. So where we are working remotely, and we obviously did not have laptops and docking stations, so that when we all went home and started working, we had, you use what you had, and we had VPN access for some staff, not all. And we're still dealing with those issues. Also communication with water suppliers, with each other. We had to kind of let that process take a little bit of time. Initially, we thought we'd be home for a short period, and then it got extended. So we're now getting entrenched and developing systems that are sustainable in a remote operation. So I think that's now an opportunity, because now we figured out ways that we can sustain this going forward. We have developed a lot of online procedures, like for public hearings, for inspections, site visits, sanitary surveys, new technology reviews. We've also increased compliance support. And that is a real critical point, because as we talk about how do you help to fund the drinking water program, I really want to encourage everyone to look at the level of support that we have been able to squeeze out with our limited resources, and what our plans are as we move forward. I want to just touch on what I call a COVID response. We have had first weekly, then bi-weekly, and now we're switching to once a month commissioner calls with public water systems. We've also had bi-weekly, weekly, then bi-weekly, and then switching to once a month calls with our largest wholesaler, the MWRA. And that meeting used to be once a quarter. We just had to knuckle down and just like every week, just get in there and make sure that everything was going well on both sides of the fence. We created more than 200 questions and answers in order to respond to public water suppliers each week. And that information is on the web, and we're refreshing it and adding to it. We also moved our bi-weekly outreach to public water suppliers, which is an email that I send out every other week, which is news and information and technical assistance. We moved that to every week. So even though our staff was, working remotely, had a lot of issues with how we manipulate data and reach out, we actually massively increased what we were doing. And it's a real compliment to staff, because to be honest, this was not done within a 40-hour work week. Folks were doing extra, and we really appreciate that. And, I'm trying to think about ways in which we can make sure that they know how much we appreciate them beyond just, telling them how awesome they are and what a great job they've done. And I know on the water supply side, that has also been happening, but I'm seeing it close up with the folks close to me who are just like not stopping. And I see emails at 9:00 at night going back to water suppliers who had an issue with RTCR sampling. So it's been a tough time. We've also come up with a lot of additional guidances. For example, we've worked on outside spigot and hydrant sampling. We've come up with additional information on cross-connection inspections, lead and copper sampling sites. We've done a lot of work around schools, which is not necessarily a Safe Drinking Water Act requirement or program, but we spent a lot of time on schools and reopening and flushing guidance for large facilities that also included schools. We then got into a little bit of work on Legionella as it relates to stagnant water in buildings, and where again schools are the main focus for us as we're going into that work. And we also had to work on safety guidance for our staff getting out into the field to do on-site inspections and surveys. And that brings me to my next update on sanitary surveys. We are on tap to do 348 sanitary surveys this cycle. We have been meeting with EPA again, that's another set of meetings that we suddenly have that was every week, and then we now switch to every other week. But we worked it out, this is EPA National, that we will do 348 surveys for the year. We will use all tools available to us, which now include remote tools, which can be videos and having the water department walk around with a camera so that we can see into places that we probably could not physically go because of safety issues. So surveys have started, and we're doing a combination of on-site hybrids, which would be on-site plus remote tools, and we're doing 100% remote as well. And it all depends on the condition of the system and whether they need to have a physical visit or some other version. So that's ongoing. We're also doing, sending out our data from our WQGS system as part of the preparation for the surveys. So systems are going to get a comprehensive report of everything that's in our data system for them so that they can look at that, plus a violation history, plus open schedule actions. So they can look at all this information before we come out for the survey and make sure that we both have the same information. And maybe they can clean up some of the data before we actually do the survey, which could be on-site or remote or a combination of the two. For all on-sites, we have to do the safety checks, and we have to repeat them like the night before or that morning to make sure that nothing has changed. So that's ongoing. We made some changes around training. We had to move to a remote platform that offered TCHs. So like all other training programs, we developed a policy, and we did our first one, which was on lead and copper. And it was pretty successful, and we are planning other trainings using the same model. We have also developed, we've been updating our contract operator directory. We did that with a SurveyMonkey that is still active. And we are working on developing a platform for on-demand training with TCHs. And when I say training, we do more regulatory training, things that the water system needs to do to stay in compliance with us. There are a lot of other things that they need to be trained on, but our area is the regulatory portion. We also worked on the project with EPA and others to get face masks to water suppliers. So all of these are additional things that we weren't prepared to do, but we're doing them. We spent some time on compliance and enforcement support, especially as it related to the annual statistical report, consumer confidence report, PWSs that were temporarily closing because of COVID, also on cross connections. And we have seen increased bacteria positives, which maybe it's climate warming, don't know. The verdict is still out there. But what that means is that our staff have been responding in real time to water suppliers and working with them through every step of the process. Insofar as enforcement, even though EPA put out, the Office of Enforcement from EPA put out guidance around enforcement forbearance, it was not applicable to the Safe Drinking Water Act requirements. So water suppliers who fail to meet a deadline under Safe Drinking Water Act rule, that's a violation. The place we have discretion is in what type of actions we require of the systems. So the enforcement document would be more of a compliance assistance document. So that's what we've been working on for the federal violations. And for the state programs, which would be like the annual statistical report, for that, we have actually gone out and done a lot of calls to water systems to try to get them to get the information in. And I'm still in the last part of that compliance assistance process. We still have like 18 systems that we're working through that process. My goal right now is not to do enforcement, but if there's some system out there that's like a real hard case, it's possible that we might have to recommend enforcement for them. Switching from that, I want to, one other thing. I mentioned training, but on training, we had to do some real work around developing a protocol to ensure diversity and environmental justice is incorporated into our training programs, to make sure that we are reaching out to EJ communities and diverse candidates to encourage them into the training and into the support programs that we create to get new certified operators into the field. So we have started that. We did one training out in the western part of the state, and we've now been working with water suppliers to try to place some of the graduates of that course into internships in public water systems. You will see more of that work as we move forward into the year. I just want to mention staffing. We have been able to fill vacancies that have occurred because we've had some people move on or up. So that's a good thing. And I think that has a lot to do with the work of this group, because your support for the program has made it clear that, it's important that we get to backfill our positions. Boston was fortunate. We were able to get one new staff person who started doing the COVID remote work. And this person, his name is Ben Joaquin, and he is assigned to TNCs. The reason he's assigned to TNCs is that TNCs have been having a lot of issues, lots of compliance issues. And his first set of work was around the air SARs. And he's also going to be joining the New England Waterworks Small System Committee. And he's been starting to gear up to work with third-party organizations so that we can do more for our transient non-community system, so that we can cut down on non-compliance. I can stop here, or I can do some hot topics, which would start with PFAS. So let me know if I have a few more minutes, because I'm happy to keep going.
I wouldn't mind hearing about PFAS.
Okay, I will do it fast. Okay, so PFAS, there are lots of facets to it. The first one is the regulations. We're very hopeful that we will have final regulations shortly, and maybe by the beginning of October, they might be in place. It's a 20 ppt MCL for 6 PFAS compounds. If the current version that I'm kind of seeing in my head, which might not be the final version, but I think it's pretty safe. The larger systems would begin January 1, 2021 with monitoring. The next size down would be April 1st, 2021. And then the third category would be October 1st, 2021. And this is for community and non-transient non-community. Because TNCs, the MCL does not apply to TNCs. The 20 ppt MCL would not apply to TNCs, because their access to the water is different than a community system or in TNC. So for a TNC, they have one round of sampling, and we would look at those results, and then based on a review by the Office of Research and Standards, the risk based on the use of the water, the use pattern. So that's in the reg package that I've seen, that I hope will be moving forward. To support the reg package, the governor's supplementary had $8.4 million that could be used for free PFAS testing for public water systems, and free PFAS testing for selected private wells in an effort to characterize the nature of PFAS across the Commonwealth. It also had funding for design grants for water systems. And there was a separate funding for additional funds for the SRF to deal with treatment installations. On the public water supplies free testing, that was rolled out on September 3rd. And so far we have 158 public water systems that have applied. We know that once the reg comes out, that I hope all systems would come in, because the sampling that you get under the free sampling can be used for your first round of sampling or whatever round under the regs. So folks should try to get in and get that free rounds, because that money goes away June 30th, 2021. So I would assume that all the large systems, if in fact we have a January 1, 2021 date in the regs, would come in to get that free sampling. We've partnered with UMass on the free sampling program. We have 5 labs on contract to do the work, and we have TA providers on our staff and who can help to move this forward. On the private well piece, that's not rolled out yet. I'm hoping that that will be next week. And that will be, again, in partnership with UMass. And they will have TA providers for private wells to work through this SELECT program. The SELECT program will be looking at communities where 60% or more of the citizens get their water from private wells. We have gone through and identified 81 communities where that is the case, and most of them are in the Western region. And then we would, based on potential and known sources of PFAS, we would then select certain private well locations and work with the local Board of Health to invite those parties to attend. We obviously do not have enough money to test every private well in the state, but based on this SELECT program, we think that we will be able to characterize the nature of PFAS across the state. So we would have the public water system information, and then we would have these private well points throughout the state, so we would have a better idea. I have one more update on the PFAS for the design grants. We have not come out with a press release on that yet, but we have evaluated the first round of them. I think there were 19 applicants, and I think 10 of them should be getting awards, but we're also having a second round. So even if you weren't in the first round, it's possible that you could be in the second round. That's not officially out, but it should be coming out any minute now. And besides PFAS, I just have a couple of other quick notes. We did get WINS grant funds from EPA for lead in schools for testing at childcare facilities. So the first round was $900,000. The second round was $350,000, and that only came out this week. But we are struggling to get schools and childcare facilities to test for lead because they're physically not doing what they normally do because of COVID. So there's that grant program, and there's another grant program for small and disadvantaged systems. So there's a lot more that we've been doing, and we're doing a lot more with what we had, which was not great, but we're pressing forward. I'm sorry for the kind of like the fire hose of information, but I thought it might be useful. So thank you. Any comments? I know I kind of ran on a bit.
All right, thanks, Yvette. I have no comments. I was curious as to how many systems had volunteered to sample for PFAS, and you answered that. So yeah, I have no other comments.
Any other questions? You're going to see weekly reminders about PFAS free sampling because we really want folks to take advantage of it. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Yvette. I think we now go on to public comment.
Yep, this is Kathy again. I just wanted to acknowledge Sean Osborne has joined us. Hi, Sean. And are there
I
any,
can.
hi, are there any comments from the public? Okay, hearing none, I will turn it back over to the chair. Thank you.
I just have one comment about these Zoom bombs. If we can look into that for the future meetings. I'm assuming this is probably not our last Zoom meeting, so.
Yeah, we'll do. Nicole, I believe, switched to waiting room.
Yes, I just want to thank Blake for that suggestion. I mean, this has never happened to any of us, I don't think, or at least in the DEP. So this is my first time dealing with all of this, and the waiting room is now enabled, so that feels a lot better.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. Thanks, Blake.
A couple of meetings such as this.
And
Okay, so we'll all be brought up to speed for the next meeting.
Okay, and I just want to note the next meeting, as per your schedule, is December 18th at 9 a.m. And at that point, we will invite the Waterworks presidents, and that will be the meeting at which Yvette gives a fuller update of the various programs and what has occurred throughout the calendar year.
All right, thank you, Kathy.
Okay.
I guess we need a motion to adjourn.
Dave Condrey makes a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor say aye, or I guess we do a roll call again. I'm sorry.
Okay, who seconded it?
Blake.
Blake, okay, thanks, Blake. Let's go back to the list here. Neil,
Yes.
Elizabeth, Tom,
Yes.
Holder, Sean,
Yes.
okay. David,
Yes.
Blake,
Yes.
Ariella had to leave the meeting for another meeting, so she's not on anymore. And Jim Starbard.
Yes.
Okay, the motion to adjourn passes, and thank you all. Yvette, did you want to conclude anything?
I just want to say thank you for making the meeting, and I really appreciate all of the comments, and we are definitely open for business, working remotely, so call anytime and tell everybody else to call. We're good. Thanks.
Thank you. Stay healthy,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
You too.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
everyone.